Hello, everybody. Welcome to the joint hearing on Committees on Government Operations, Committee on Agriculture and Environment, room 225, Tuesday, February 13th, 3 p.m. Several measures to consider. We're being here live in the Capitol, and we're also being streamed on YouTube and Zoom. And if for any reason there's an interruption in the hearing, we'll repost a time certain date and place to continue the conversation and cease the meeting at that point. If there's hopefully no technical issues. With that being said, the first up on the agenda is Senate Bill 2436 relating to construction waste. First up, we have SPO, State Procurement Office.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, members of the committee. Bonnie Kahakui for the State Procurement Office. We will stand in our testimony with comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Keith Regan.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, members of the committee. Keith Regan, comptroller for the state of Hawaii. We submitted written testimony in opposition for this measure. We're here to answer any questions regarding our testimony. Also joining me today is our Public Works Division Acting Administrator, Gordon Wood, to provide any additional technical answers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for being here. Stephanie Sakamoto, BIA. They too have comments. Tim Lyons, subcontractors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The Subcontractors Association is also opposed to this, at least as it's currently written. We're of course not against recycling materials. However, there's really two areas of concern. One is the bidder. If the bidder it could potentially be the worst apple in the bunch, but they're still going to get a 10% preference and perhaps win the bid. And the second is the materials. A lot of the recycled materials do not have the durability as a normal one, and their recyclableness also is a problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We also have Ryan Sakuda, building general contractors. They have comments. William Turley, Recycling Association. They have comments. They have support. Faith Chase, Reuse Hawaii.
I'm going to make an assumption that everybody knows what Reuse Hawaii is, but if not, for anybody tuning in, Reuse Hawaii is Hawaii's only licensed deconstruction service provider. We're also a nonprofit. I am the director of fundraising and strategic communications. I've testified before many of you in the past for agricultural issues. I actually moved from Maui to take this job on Oahu because I want to model what Reuse Hawaii does for Maui. And as everybody knows, there's tons of issues with landfill life and disposal debris on Maui. So I look to you legislators in this island to make sound decisions that will actually be replicated throughout Hawaii. I can see that I'm kind of looking at all these testimonies. I might be a little bit alone, but I just want to say that if not now, when? If not us, who? If not this, what? I am not objected to a lot of the other concerns that people who have opposed to this are saying, but some conversation has to be had. I was not aware that Oahu's landfills were going to be closing in 2028 when I actually took this job, and so I'm baffled actually at that. On Maui specifically, there's an ongoing bad joke that we have a second Haleakala growing because our landfill is almost as tall as, well, maybe not as tall, but since COVID, it's grown tremendously. And if everybody's been watching the news, you can see that Central Maui landfill is going to be dealing with a lot of incoming stuff. So I talk about Maui just because Oahu needs to be that best example for the smaller islands. And so as far as the concerns with the procurement office, I think those are things that can be worked out. There's a huge EPA piece that's going through right now where they're actually identifying products that are recyclable. They're giving them new names. They're actually asking the communities, how do you define those products and how do you distinguish them? Because you are right as far as the value of those recycled materials. But I don't think that there's not that many people in this industry that we can't work this out. So I appreciate when you're saying that this conversation might need to be had later. I'm not really for another survey or another focus group or another TIG. But I definitely feel like this needs to get somewhere. And if it means just going to WHAM and finance so that we can muscle through it there for a little bit longer, so be it. This is the fastest this is the fastest unrealistic legislative calendar. It always has been. You know, we're having a crisis. And the boots on the ground story is that when you go to schedule to go take things to the landfill PVT, they're like, whoa, 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 you got to come back. They're redirecting to a quarry. It takes 2 or 3 days to schedule this. I know this because this is in the wheelhouse of the work that I do. So we're at a crisis point, and I just beg you to give it a little bit. You know, I don't, if things aren't perfect, we can work out the kinks. And it's only when we try that we can actually muscle through what those kinks are. And we're all friends here. We're all in this. There's a small population of people who talk about, you know, trash and sewer, so to speak. You know, it really is. And so it doesn't matter if you're objected to the issue at hand. The fact that you're in the same room and you're talking about it is progress. You know, we're all talking about the same thing, and we all, at the end of the day, care about Hawaii's environment. So I am in definite strong support of this. And I just wanted to give my chair, I just wanted to say thank you for being my keynote speaker for because Maui had a problem doing dealing with their waste. I've been having an organization, Farmers Voice Hawaii, have an event called Resource Recovery Maui. Some of you guys have probably got spam in your inboxes from me, but basically I did that because nobody was having these conversations, and we always get down to this point of, you know, sort of rush legislative means it doesn't make everybody happy. So Chair Gabbard was my keynote speaker for my first event in 2018. I just want to say thank you. It's been we've come a long way and not very far. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Let's see, we have next up Jennifer Navarro from the HICA Solid Waste Task Force. On Zoom?
They're unavailable on Zoom, Chair.
Unavailable on Zoom. They have comments. Let's see, I think we have you down twice, Faith, by accident. We have Lay from Joelle Simon Pietri, Simon Pietri Enterprises, in support. And then several individuals in support: Mamiko Carroll, Alexis Schultz, and Nicole Hurt, 2436. That's all we have on 2436. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to testify? Seeing none, co-chair, members, are there any questions?
Question,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
thanks, please.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Thank you. To what extent have you already explored the feasibility of installing distributed energy resource systems in state facilities?
I'm sorry, that's
Wrong.
a different bill.
Oh, sorry, wrong one.
There we go. But on this one.
Too many here.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're good?
Know the feeling.
We're good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, no, while you're here, real quick, just real quick. But, you know, to the proponent's point, you know, I mean, maybe the procurement bid preference isn't the way to go about this, but is there a way to go about trying to encourage the use of more recyclables within the construction works that are going on, insofar as trying to be a partner in landfill solid waste strategies?
Yeah, I do agree that use of the preference probably is kind of a blunt tool. And will probably lead to additional protests and delays of projects and additional costs and so forth. So probably not the way to go about it. Right now, we have very few alternatives for recycling, especially at gross volumes. And there's sort of this pretense that we're going to say it's recycled, we're going to ship it off the site, and it just sort of goes into a black box someplace. And I'm not sure, as a person involved in this industry, whether or not any of it gets recycled from Hawaii.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I think that what we need to do, and just, let me take off my Public Works Administrator hat and put on Gordon Wood citizen hat, is I think what we need to do here in Hawaii is to develop a local recycling capability, not just for Hawaii, but for the Pacific Islands as well. I think it would be a tremendous resource for all of us. And I think it's something that we could probably, in that way, build enough market to actually make it work.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we'll move on to the next bill on the agenda, which is 2753. This one was added to the Okay, let's take a brief recess. So sorry, just a brief recess.
Okay, gaveling back in on, we are at second measure. On SB 2753, is that right? Yeah. That's what we'll do first. Yeah. Relating to building codes, clarifies that no state or county building code shall prohibit the use of substitute refrigerant allowed by the EPA if the applicable equipment is listed and installed in compliance with the latest safety standards. And first up is Department of Health. In support, Sherry Pollock with 350 Hawaii is in support. Mike Narosi on Zoom with Director of Government Affairs is AHRI. There he is. Hey, Mike.
Hey there. Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. I'm Mike Narosi, Director of Government Affairs for the Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Institute. I have submitted a written testimony for the record, so my remarks will be pretty brief here. AHRI represents about 330 manufacturers of air conditioning, heating, and commercial refrigeration equipment in North America. It's an internationally organized advocate for the HVACR industry, and we certify the performance of many of the products manufactured by our members. We're here strongly in support of Senate Bill 2753, which will enable the use of low global warming potential refrigerants in HVACR equipment. The US EPA, in accordance with the Federal American Innovation and Manufacturing Act, which passed in 2020, is phasing down the production and the import of hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants.
Mike, excuse me. We just
Yes.
got informed by the clerk that we cannot do this, so we're going to have to wait for Senator McKibben to come back. So we'll
Sure, absolutely.
reconvene in a moment then. Sorry.
Yes.
Aloha, thank you everybody for your patience. We'll continue right up. We have Mr. Narosi, Government Affairs for AHRI online. Go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you, chairs. Again, Mike Narosi, I'm with the Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Institute. We have submitted written testimony, so I'm just going to keep my remarks brief. We represent about 330 manufacturers of air conditioning, heating, and commercial refrigeration equipment here in North America. We are here to strongly support Senate Bill 2753, which will enable the use of low global warming potential refrigerants in HVACR equipment that our members manufacture. So the US EPA back in 2020 was tasked with phasing down the production and import of hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants, commonly known as HFCs. That was within accordance of the Federal American Innovation and Manufacturing Act. A lot of people don't know that hydrofluorocarbon is actually thousands of times more powerful than carbon dioxide at warming the planet. They're considered ozone depleting substances. So taking their place through this 15-year transition are going to be substitute refrigerants that reduce US greenhouse gas emissions by approximately 2.4 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2036. To kind of zoom out globally, this refrigerant transition that we're doing here in the United States assures our compliance with the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, which is a United Nations initiative, and will phase down HFCs worldwide and avoid a 0.5 degree Celsius of projected global warming by the year 2100. Senate Bill 2753 amends Hawaii's building code to allow for any HFC substitute that has been approved by the EPA to be used in HVACR equipment. 43 states have already made this change. If it's not made quickly here in Hawaii, manufacturers will face significant risk of being unable to sell new products into Hawaii with these new refrigerants as the new EPA regulations take effect. And beginning next year, January 1, 2025, our manufacturers, our members are not allowed to manufacture any more equipment with HFC-based refrigerants. They all have to be the new low global warming for refrigerants. So this just removes a barrier so we can have Hawaii can have uninterrupted access to new HVACR equipment.
Okay, well, so time limit's been reached, so we're gonna have you summarize at this point.
Yep, I would just say thank you for the opportunity to testify. I was pretty much at the end, so happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you so much for being here and testifying, staying with us. We have Ted Boland for Climate Protectors Hawaii. Since written in support, that's all we have on 2753. My glasses on might help. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, are there any questions for, yes, sir?
Yeah, I got a question for gentleman, just Mike with AHRI. Are you still here, Mike?
Yes, I'm still.
So why is it so important that this bill pass at this point?
Well, honestly, here as we head into actually next month in March, you know, our association estimates that that's going to be kind of like the start of when our manufacturers start to roll out the new low global warming potential refrigerant equipment into states that can accept it, that their building codes do permit these refrigerants. You know, on the line, basically, I've already mentioned the climate benefits. But you know, it's estimated another 33,000 new manufacturing jobs are going to be created as part of this transition. It's also going to sustain 138,000 existing jobs. Right now, our industry employs approximately 900 people in Hawaii, and this is going to increase our direct manufacturing output by about 12.5 billion. And really just help us keep being on the cutting edge of HVACR technology and innovation. The United States has been a global leader. This will just continue to keep us in front of the rest of the pack.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Thanks.
Question.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, please.
Thanks.
Thanks.
No, we haven't
We-
called. Yeah,
We're
not there yet.
We're on the
Yeah.
distributed.
2753. 2753. Yeah, I just got a question.
She got me confused.
Yeah, sorry, you got me confused the first go around. That's okay. I still got a question for Degs.
477. Oh, it's Ted Boland. We're done. We're in question and answer period, so we'll finish with this one. So this is 2753.
Hi, Senator.
Hi, thank you. So, do you guys have any, do any of your building codes prohibit refrigerants allowed by the EPA?
We would operate off of whatever county building codes there are. So we would have to adhere to whatever's out there in terms of those limitations. I'm not intimately familiar with each of the county's building codes, whether or not they have specific language that restricts it.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Otherwise, any other questions all we have up there? No, I was on the wrong page here. My bad. Next bill, we're gonna move up to 2477, agriculture relating to single-use products. First up, Sharon Hurd, Chairperson, Board of Ag. In support? Okay, thank you. We have Wendy Gady, Executive Director for EDC.
EDC stands on its written support in the testimony.
Okay, thank you so much. Brian Miyamoto.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, members of the committees. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bill. We submitted testimony providing comments. We support the Farm to State program. However, we are a little concerned with the inclusion of a new definition, single ingredient product. And our read of the definition may jeopardize our Farm to State program, where it says a single ingredient product means a product that is primarily made up of one main ingredient, even though the product undergoes value-added processes and is 100% grown or raised or manufactured or produced in Hawaii. So you could have a product that's manufactured in Hawaii with no local agricultural ties is RE. We're not even sure if the definition is necessary, because value added and there are other categories already defined within the bill. So that's just our concern, that it may go against what the farm to state program is, which asks for more local purchasing in the state institutions. We also want to remind the committee that we still have conflicting goals and benchmarks within the farm to state and farm to school program. Farm to state includes the schools. It's 18% by 2030. Farm to school is 30% by 2030. So that still at some point does need to be cleaned up. We are going with a 30% goal, but I believe this particular provision, HRS 27-8, is 18% by 2030. So again, thank you for our opportunity to provide comments. We absolutely support the farm to state program, but we just don't want to jeopardize the percentage and the benchmarks and the goals that we're trying to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Hawaii Cattlemen's Council. They sent written testimony in support, and one individual, Caroline Zaleski, written in support. All were received on 24/77. Anybody else wishing to testify? Seeing none, members' questions of Department of Ag or of the Department of Ag. I guess I kind of, when I first read the testimony of the Farm Bureau, I had their concerns, although not to the depth that was expressed. But, you know, do you think that as written, you know, this thing could present that kind of a, for lack of a better word, loophole?
You know, sorry, Dexter Kishida, Deputy at Department of Agriculture. We didn't read it that way the first time because the intent is local purchasing. Mm-hmm. But after Brian Miyamoto shared that maybe if we can specify the manufacturing or ensuring that it's a local product, that there is some value add happening to it, clarifying that may be key to ensure the intent of what is being said. Again, it's to incorporate in the farm to state purchasing this single item type product, yeah, which we would say is like a fresh cut frozen fruit or something like that. But we would hope no one would try and slip in a nefarious thing like bringing in a mainland product and then saying that's manufactured here. But
come on,
correct. So adding specificity would be great.
So just how about you just change or to and?
Correct. Well,
that right, and instead of or. Then you.
Would that then mean it needs to be also? I guess it would be.
Or just remove it entirely, like they were suggesting.
Correct, because it does imply already that if there's a single item that's being processed, there's going to be some processing that happens.
Okay.
So maybe just removing would be ideal.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you for indulging me, everybody, on that one. Let's see. We next have up the next bill on our agenda, 3260. And this is 100% target bill. So first up, Tommy Johnson, which is Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Department staff
Sharon Hurd.
Department staff written testimony providing comments on this bill. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, ADC.
ADC stands on the written testimony and full support.
Thank you so much. Let's see, Keith Hayashi, Department of Education. We have comments at Farm Bureau.
Thank you, chairs, members of the committees. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Again, farm to state, 100% we support. 100% by a blank date may not be entirely realistic. We don't want to say that. We would love to achieve it, maybe with new ag technology, and we have more land in agriculture here in Hawaii. I think what would determine the practicality of this is what is that date. It is a blank. That doesn't mean we're not going to try to increase the percentage, but again, 100%, it is a lofty goal. It is a great goal to achieve, but we're going to concentrate on the benchmarks now. And if we can achieve those, and there are a lot of other factors and all the bills that we're hearing in agriculture this year, from invasive species to value added to land use to water, all need to be addressed if we're even going to hit the benchmarks that are already in law. So again, we support 100% to try to achieve 100%, but we also are very realistic that it's be very difficult to achieve that goal. However, if the legislature so decides to set that goal, we will do everything we can to achieve that 100% goal. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
We have cattlemen's. They have sent testimony in support. We have Janine Mariano and team, Food and Policy Internship Program. They are in support with written testimony. Carolyn Zaleski, again, individual in support. Jacqueline Ambrose, individual in support. And we have a late from Elizabeth Lynch in support. All we've received on 3260. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to testify? Seeing none, members co-chair question. Farm Bureau question for you. I mean, to your point, I mean, don't you think that, we should set a strong policy position of a year, a specific year to say, yes, we will be at 100%. Given all the things you talked about, technological advances, all of the things, do you think that we should just make a bold policy proclamation and say, okay, given the incremental percentages now, based upon those percentages, we can set a target date for the future?
Thank you, Chair. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. We do that. We did that for clean energy, renewable energy. Again, we would not be opposed to that. We are just saying that the reality of it. Absolutely. Let's set the goal. Let's try to get that 100%. However, if that goal is set, the industry is going to need investment from the legislature in order to achieve that goal. Do not set an unfunded mandate for agriculture. Absolutely. And our testimony is in support, by the way.
But you would
opposing that.
base it upon the current statutory increments that are in law. You just exponentially carry them out to 100%, right? That'll give you a definitive year, which we should be at 100%.
You could, but the investment needs to be increased also in order for us to achieve those.
There's a lot of things that have to happen.
There are a lot that needs to happen. So as a legislature did, as a state did with renewable energy, and that was a lofty goal, but it's a goal I believe we will achieve. Absolutely, let's set that goal, but let's be realistic on how and what it's going to take to achieve that goal. We can grow quite a bit, almost everything. You hear the ADC director, executive director talk about the microclimates. So we can grow a lot here, a lot of different products. The problem is growing it competitively.
So that's where the technology would come.
Technology, many other things. Land use, we talked about land use earlier this morning or today. Challenges to our land use or other uses on agricultural land. So we need to preserve what we have, possibly expand and make sure that we don't have other non-agriculture uses. We need to have access to affordable water. We need to have long-term affordable leases. We need to put a handle on our invasive species problem that's growing and growing. And then labor issues.
What about the comments made, like, for instance, some of these products can't be sourced in wheat, like wheat. We can't grow wheat here because we need flour for that. I mean, do you think that we have the ability to do that or to identify replacement crops so you could get wheat or flour from another source? I mean,
the co-chair here, Senator Gabbard, has been a big fan of ulu. So we have cassava that they mill into flour. There are options. Again, it will take time. So setting that realistic goal and timeline. Over time, quite possibly we would change eating habits. We're working on our farm to school program to develop. The department is looking at developing new menus, different menus with different products on there, understanding. So it's a comprehensive plan, understanding what we have here in Hawaii, what we can grow and what we can grow competitively will help us achieve this particular goal, because this is a farm to state goal, which again, farm to school is included.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming up.
And don't forget recruiting young farmers. We need farmers.
And ranchers.
Chair.
Yes.
I think I need to weigh in on this. Yeah. Okay. Hang on, Brad. Don't run off. On the introducer. This is a bill, and you are right. This is setting a very lofty goal. But if we don't set a lofty goal, we're not going to get there anyway. And so I appreciate the support, but with the temperance that you're offering as far as the conversation going. That being said, this is exactly the conversation I wanted to have. If we're not going to try hard to get there, we're not going to get there. If we're going to be complacent, we're not going to get there. So we have to do is, set the stick out there and then start going after it. And I believe that this body, the legislature, can modify if we need to, but not now. Let's, old Star Trek, boldly go. Let's get after it and get it done, because I think we can get a lot of things done. We raise 80% of our tomatoes that we consume now. Raised 80% of the cucumbers statewide that we consume now. There are things that we can start checking off the list. We just have to get after it. So I appreciate Farm Bureau's willing to support it, realizing it's lofty, but let's get after it. Farming and ranching, because we can get after the protein as well.
Chair.
Yeah.
I have questions.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you're just gonna answer, Senator Gallo. Are you gonna answer him?
No, I don't need an answer.
I was just going to say yes, Senator.
So I just wanted to follow up. Thank you, Chair. So while we're talking about breeding grounds and we can grow everything here, I want you to factor in, as we start to remove the tools out of the toolbox, if we were to remove those that we treat for insects, weeds, and so forth, what would that look like in food production?
Thank you, Senator. I think you're probably referring to pesticides. We had a bill earlier where we use certain pesticides. For example, when we're talking about invasive species, coconut rhinoceros beetle. So again, utilizing all the tools that are necessary for our farmers and ranchers to be successful is important. Specifically with pesticides, they are highly regulated. I know it's not a popular topic, but all of those things that I brought up need to be addressed and supported in order for us, land, water, labor, cost of energy, invasive species, marking, transportation, in order for us to achieve the 100% goal. So yes, we need all the tools and we need the investment, the proper investments for the agriculture sector in order to achieve not just our farm to state goal, not just our farm to school goal, doubling food production in general for the state of Hawaii, farm to food bank, and then we have the Bucks program. So we have many goals.
So 80% of the tomatoes are grown in Hawaii. How much pesticides are used to treat the pests that attack tomatoes? And if we were to move that out of the toolbox, how much tomatoes would be grown here?
I'm probably not the right one to ask. That'd probably be specific tomato growers, but I understand they use, our largest farm does use those tools. I believe many farms use them when necessary. Our farmers aren't just nilly-willy using pesticides or herbicides unnecessarily. They're costly. You need to be trained on it. They use it when they need to use it. And again, they use them for the most part. As responsible as
So you
they
never
can.
asked my question. My question is how much tomatoes would be grown here? Just an approximate, knowing that you represent the majority of the tomato growers as a Farm Bureau president.
Without being able to use pesticides? Probably not much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
So, yes, my question is trying to fill in the blank goal, okay? Do you know how much percentage that the state is already purchasing now of local produce?
Thank you, Senator. I think the big number that we use all the time, that the big state restaurant, Department of Education's a little over 6%.
Only 6%.
Only 6%.
So I understand it's a lofty goal, but I'm the kind of person who I want to be realistic about the goal, because if it's too out there, people are just going to ignore it. So at 6%, and when did we start pushing for a farm to school program? 10 years ago?
decades ago, but the law was passed in 2021, Act 171 and 175 and 176 was 2021. So
in 3 years, you went from what to 6%?
not sure where it started, but I think one of the contributing factors to the lower number was dairy, local milk. There was quite a bit of local milk. We are down to pretty much one commercial dairy here in the state. So that contributed to that number quite possibly going lower. But as Senator Gabbard said, we are looking at other crops. Another crop, Senator Richards, that I think we're pretty close to self-sufficient, sweet potatoes. So yes, it is looking at the menu. There are challenges with the school lunch program, and that's why the farm to state program with our state hospitals, state prisons, a little bit more flexibility there. It may be a little bit easier to achieve those benchmarks there. When we talk about that 100%, I think the big question is Department of Education.
So at this time, we can't fill in that blank because we don't know what the progress is in just getting to the 6%.
I think with information from the Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, and the other state departments, we could probably fill that blank in. Again, I think that's a policy decision. And as Senator Richard said, we will set that 100% goal. We're going to do whatever we can to achieve that goal.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you have got the new technologies things. Like, for instance, I won't name their name, but there's an entity out there right now that's developing what can only be considered cyber greenhouses that you could actually literally be doing crop production without fear of pests and volatility right in the urban zone, right next to the ship.
Indoor farming is a component. We can't grow everything. A lot of what we can grow microgreens. We can run that operation 24 hours. It does use less water, less pesticides, however, high energy costs, and we have not overcome those energy costs. Again, it's a comprehensive strategy that we need for agriculture. So we have to look at it entirely as an ecosystem in order to achieve this goal and the many goals that the legislature have set for us.
A lot of time. Okay, thank you so much. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my esteemed co-chair who's going to take the lead on the remaining bills.
Okay, moving on to SB 2418 related to toxic chemicals requires state agencies that monitor environmental toxins and pollutants to establish environmental action levels, or EALs, to ensure the preservation of a safe environment, prohibits modifications to EALs unless certain procedural requirements are met. And first up is Department of Health.
Good afternoon, Chairs Gabbard and members of the committee. My name is Grace Simmons, Department of Health. The department stands on its written testimony in opposition to this measure, and we ask that you hold the measure. The department strongly feels that we have robust methods and procedures in place to develop these environmental action levels. These are risk-based action levels, and we ask that, and we do have these measures already in place. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ernie Lau from Board of Water Supply is in support. Melody Aduha from Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party. With us, Melody? On Zoom?
I'm here.
Yes, she is here.
I'm here. Let me see if I can start my video. Okay. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committees. My name is Melody Aduha, co-chair of the Environmental Caucus. By allowing public participation, agencies demonstrate transparency and accountability for their decision-making process. Residents have the right to know about proposed changes, and that may impact their environment, health, and well-being. Public hearings act as a check on government power. It allows residents to challenge agency proposals, ask questions, and hold decision makers accountable, and the right to petition ensures that residents can actively participate in shaping policies that affect human lives. On November 29th, 2022, a hazardous material release happened at Red Hill, and approximately 1,300 gallons of AFFF with PFAS was released. 5 months later, April 2023, Department of Health updated its EALs for PFAS. Hawaii's EALs for 20 PFAS compounds are non-mandatory advisory measures. Many states have enforceable limits, but not Hawaii. On December 2022, the DOHS EAL levels for PFOS was at 4 parts per trillion. On April 2023, it was increased to 7.7 parts per trillion, a 92% increase. In December 22, the EALs for PFOA was at 6 parts per trillion. In April 2023, it was increased to 12 parts per trillion, 100% increase.
Melody, thank you. Melody, your time's up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is John Bickle with Americans for Democratic Action in support, B.A. McClintock in support, as is Jacqueline Ambrose and Sherry Pollock, and Susan Davis is opposed. Anyone else wishing to testify on this measure, online or in person?
Yes, this is Dave Monix from Greenpeace, Hawaii.
Hey, Dave, aloha.
Aloha. Thank you so much for hearing this. And yes, we stand in strong support of this legislation. Thank you very much. Please pass it.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, members, any questions?
Okay, we'll recess for decision making very briefly. Make it official here. Okay, back up, decision-making for the joint agenda between the two committees. First up, we have 2436, construction waste. Appreciate the conversation. Maybe this isn't the way to do it. However, we're gonna probably work on a reso to get them talking about trying to increase this. And maybe next year we can tackle the big issue of facilities here on island, which came up in the, so defer indefinitely for now. 2753, this measure, we didn't have any opposition, so we're just going to move this one along as is. Members, questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair and Co-Chair, 2753 SD1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass unamended. Chair McKelvey?
Yes.
Vice Chair Size, Senator San Bonaventura?
Aye.
Senator Wakai?
Yes.
Senator Awa is excused. Measure passes. Same recommendation for AEN. Chair votes, any discussion? Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye, Senator DeCoy.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes. Aye. Senator Awa is excused. Chair, you have 4 in favor, motion is adopted.
Thank you, members.
Okay, next up, we have Senate Bill 2477 relating to ag. Conferring with my co-chair here, what we're going to do is adopt the concerns of the Farm Bureau as reflected in their testimony with Department of Ag to remove that definition that was causing the concern. And an effective date for this measure of 2112. Members, questions, comments? If not, Vice Chair, 2477 SD1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 2477 with amendments of members present. Are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, measure passes. Same recommendation for AEN. Any discussion? Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye, Senator DeCoy.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes. Aye. Senator Awa, excused. Chair, you have 4 in favor, motion is adopted.
Thank you, members.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Senate Bill 3260 relating to ag. Great conversation. Appreciate your indulgence. If you look at the 50% targets at 2050, if you incrementally increase it, you double it, it's 2100. You get in some lag time, and the irony is our defective date is actual effective date of 2112. Boy, I've been around, I can't believe that. So to set a policy of definity in the future and to challenge ourselves and future generations and legislatures on all the issues, which we'll put in the committee report, that challenging the ag industry, we'll make it 2112. Will be the date, we'll be at 100%. And we're going to also encourage the agencies to look at either substituting different products, as was discussed about, or technologies to grow them all here. And then, of course, a real defective date of 2112, just to keep the measure moving for now. Members, questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair, 3260 SD1.
Okay, Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 3260 with amendments of the members present. Any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes. And same recommendation for AEN. Chair votes, any discussion? Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye, Senator DeCoy.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes. Aye. Senator Awa is excused. Chair, you have 4 in favor. Motion is adopted.
Okay, and then on the SB 2418, the chair, the committee needs a little bit more time as we go over this bill, so we're going to defer the decision-making until Wednesday, tomorrow, February 14th at 1:04 p.m. in room 224. So, Chair.
Okay, thank you. This concludes the joint hearing. Okay, we're reconvening the hearing, the joint hearing between the two committees. We'll just go ahead and recap the recommendation of a deferred vote.
Yes, we will defer decision-making on 24, SB 2418, till Wednesday, February 14th at 1:04 p.m. in room 224.
Okay, and we, government operations, will do our decision-making on this measure Thursday at 3:20 in this room, 225. Okay, now let's turn. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the joint hearing between our committee, the committee, Energy, Economic Development, and Tourism. A couple bills on the agenda. Senate Bill 3357. First up, we have Chief Energy Officer. Hawai'i State Energy Office.
State Energy Office stands on its written testimony with comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Keith Regan, Comptroller.
Chair, we stand on our written testimony provided.
Okay, thank you so much. We have Dave Molnix of Greenpeace.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Dave Mullet, co-founder of Greenpeace Hawaii. We stand in strong support of SB 3357. Thank you, chairs and committee members, for hearing this very important legislation. Pass SB 3357 is common sense because without our power grid goes down to a major disaster like a hurricane, it will help ensure that essential services like fire stations, hospitals, police stations, water treatment plants, emergency shelters will continue to have power and function and communicate. We saw how important this was during the last hurricane in Puerto Rico, where the grid was wiped out and essential services were not able to function except for one fire station that solar and battery storage, and they were able to function and provide services, and one of the few facilities that actually had a working communication system. So climate change is bringing larger and more devastating hurricanes. It's only a matter of time before a huge hurricane hits us. So it's essential to be prepared and before one does and hits Hawaii and wipes out our power grid. So please pass SB 3357. Mahalo nui loa for all your hard work to protect our climate. We appreciate you folks. Aloha.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, Dave. Next up, we have Sherry Pollack, co-founder of 350 Hawaii. They are in support. Oh, there she is. Go ahead.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can. We have a 2-minute timer just to let you know.
Okay. Just aloha, chairs, vice chairs, committee members. My name is Sherry Pollack, and I'm with 350 Hawaii. 350 Hawaii is in strong support of this measure. I stand on our written testimony, but just wanted to highlight that this bill is a lead by example measure for solar plus storage for state facilities with a priority for first responder facilities. This bill will initially cost us some money, but ultimately it will save us money while protecting the climate. But at its core, this bill is about saving lives. The better we are prepared for the next disaster that is bound to hit, we will save lives and be able to recover faster from whatever disaster has occurred. I only wish this bill had been law before the tragedy that occurred in Lahaina. Please pass this important measure. Mahalo for your time and attention.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have Rocky Mold, Hawaii Solar Energy Association.
Good afternoon, chairs and members of the committee. I'm Rocky Mold with the Hawaii Solar Energy Association. Distributed solar and energy storage in normal times provides resilient, affordable, clean power. When the grid goes down, it actually allows people with solar and storage to ride through those grid outages, and it alleviates pressure on grid restoration efforts. when a tragedy occurs, such as the tragedy in Lahaina that we experienced, the value of that power and that resiliency comes to the fore. And it really is a critical resource to provide power for emergency operations and for letting people contact each other, keep their medicine and food cool, these kinds of services. So thank you for hearing this bill. I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
Well, thank you for being here. Laura Breer, Hawaii Climate Action Network. Written in support, Hawaii Legislative Council members, Chamber of Sustainable Commerce. They have both written in support. Let's see, we have Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party of Hawaii. Melody.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Melody Aduha, co-chair of the Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party, and we are in support, strong support of this measure. Going solar aligns with environmental goals and reduces greenhouse gas emissions. A study would evaluate the positive impacts on environmental and public health. Involving stakeholders, including first responders, fosters support for solar energy in state facilities. Prioritizing first responder facilities aligns with strategic goals, and the study would provide information on long-term planning and resource allocation. A feasibility study provides a comprehensive understanding of the benefits, challenges, and practicality of transitioning state facilities to solar energy with a focus on ensuring the resilience and effectiveness of first responders. Thank you very much for this opportunity to testify, and I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Melody. Appreciate it. Just trying to balance the load here. Okay, next up we have Susan Roberts Emery, Green Party of Hawaii. They have written in support. We have several individuals in support: Eric Leventhal, Michael Nihipali, Tadia Rice, Danilo, Regina Gregory, Jodis Russell Christian. That's all we have on the testimony. Anybody in the audience wishing to testify or in Zoom? Seeing none, members' questions on this measure? Chair, questions and all from your committee? No? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the next bill on the agenda of the joint hearing, 2770, Hawaii State Energy Office.
Bill chairs, vice chairs from the committee, Maria Tomei, Hawaii State Energy Office, we stand on our written comment, our written testimony with strong support.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Andrew Kawano, City and County, Honolulu. Okay, they too testify in support. Okay, we have Micah Munokata, Ulupono Initiative. Is that them? Ulupono? No, Ulupono sends testimony in support. Ren Westcoat, Long Road Energy. They have written in support. And then we have Hawaiian Electric.
They're available.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chairs, members of the committee. Greg Chimokov from Hawaiian Electric. Stand on a written testimony and support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, buddy. Nicola Park, Director for Clearway Energy Group.
Aloha, Vice Chairs, members of the committee, Nicola Park with Clearway Energy Group. Here to express our strong support for this bill. We also submitted written testimony. Clearway supports this bill because a payment in lieu of taxes for renewables, if allowed for by this bill and then ultimately adopted by the counties, would allow for the long-term certainty that we really need for these large-scale projects. These projects operate under long-term fixed price energy contracts with the utility, and they have fixed operating budgets once they're financed and operational. So we lock in this low fixed pricing to ratepayers for 20 to 25 years under power purchase agreements that are approved by the Public Utilities Commission. And as such, unexpected increases to these real property taxes exposes these projects to risks that would otherwise have to be passed on to ratepayers. So this bill really gives us a path to the certainty we need to support this long-term fixed pricing for ratepayers, for clean energy towards the state's energy goals. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. We also have Mr. Forrest from Pacific Biodiesel Technologies. They submitted written testimony in support, and an individual Stanley Osserman in support. That's all we have on 2770. Anybody in the audience wishing to testify? Seeing none, members of our committee or questions? No? No. Okay, we'll turn it over to my co-chair for, I believe, the last bill on the agenda, which is 2822.
Thank you. Senate Bill 2822 relating to energy. First up, testifying, Keith Regan, Department of Accounting and General Services.
Chair, we stand on our written testimony and support.
Thank you. Next up, DCCA, Michael Angelo with comments.
Chair, Vice Chair, from the committee, my name is Nathan Knox, here for the DCA. We stand on our written comments. We're here for any questions.
Thank you. Next up, Blue Planet Foundation with support, Jody Robinson, Rocky Mold, on behalf of Solar Energy Association in support. Okay, he stands on his. Thank you. Next up, Hawaii Clean Power Alliance in support. Hawai'i Electric with comments on Zoom.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees. James Abraham testifying on behalf of Hawai'i Electric, offering comments on Senate Bill 2822. We do have some concerns with this bill because as currently drafted, it would allow the use of state land for wheeling electricity to benefit private entities. To the extent state land is utilized for renewable energy projects, this cheap, clean energy should benefit all customers instead of just a single off-taker. Hawai'i Electric's competitive bidding process seeks to acquire the best, cheapest energy for all customers, which could be frustrated by retail wheeling. We would support the PUC opening a docket to examine intragovernmental wheeling, that's wheeling between government agencies, which may mitigate some of the equity concerns we have with the impacts to non-wheeling customers. At least with intragovernmental wheeling, we can be somewhat assured that ultimately the taxpayer is benefiting from the use of state land and not a single private party, which would benefit to the detriment of the broader customer base. To that end, we respectfully provide a proposed amendment in our written testimony to the definition of wheeling that would bring this bill within the scope of intragovernmental wheeling. With that, thank you, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Next up, Michael Munikata, testifying for Ulupono with comments. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure?
Chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees. My name is Grace Roll. On behalf of the Public Utilities Commission, I apologize. I think we had a bit of trouble submitting the testimony, but we should have it now. We offer comments. We'd be happy to talk more about what's in the comments or answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, any questions from the committee? I have one, PC. So do you agree with the statements in the bill that the PUC has failed to open and move a docket on wheeling for state facilities, which has crippled the state's ability to share and distribute the electricity generated amongst most facilities?
As noted in our testimony, the commission has previously opened a docket on intergovernmental wheeling. That was back in 2007, did languish a bit. It was closed in 2019. As part of the closure of that docket, we identified some really key issues that would be addressed in other proceedings in front of the commission. So I believe we highlighted a number of those proceedings where a lot of the goals of a wheeling type mechanism are being addressed at the PUC. So I do think we're really trying to push forward those goals.
Can you give us an example or name us some of those that you guys have actually pushed?
Yeah, absolutely. So one is the community-based renewable energy program. That's our a shared solar program that allows folks to share in low-cost renewable energy despite, if they're not able to put solar or storage on their rooftops. We've also worked on a microgrid docket that has established a microgrid tariff, which I think you could consider a form of distribution level wheeling. So not, at the transmission level, but more at the distribution level. Our distributed energy resource docket also established compensation mechanisms for customer generators. So on your own home. That's just a few. I'd be happy to talk about others if helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead and reset for me.
Hang on, I get one more question
Oh,
for
yeah,
Dags, please. Thank you. So how much revenue do you estimate the state has lost due to its inability to utilize the excess electricity generated by state facilities?
Chair, I think it's a great question. I don't have the exact dollar amount, but I can get that information for you. Our biggest challenge really is that we have a large amount of property that we could potentially utilize to produce energy that could potentially go towards supplementing some of the other uses in other areas for public facilities. But however, because we don't have the ability to currently access this ability to wheel as part of that, that kind of limits our ability to expand. So this would be extremely helpful for us.
Yes, if you can get back to us on.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
response.
Sure.
Okay, Thank you.
Chair.
No other questions. Thank you, Chair.
Recess now? Okay. Recess for decision making. Luna's getting restless, so we have to hurry this up. Welcome back to the reconvened joint committee. A couple bills. First up was Senate Bill 3357. Members, we want to move this along for many reasons plus one. So all we're going to do is clarify on page 4, line 20, that by the term state, it means DAGs. And then some technical non-substantive amendments as well for clarity, consistency, and style. Any questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair 3357 SD1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 3357 with amendments. Chair McKelvey.
Yes.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Senator Wakai.
Yes.
Senator Awa. Excused. Measure passes.
Thank you very much. Next measure, SB 2770. Speaking of sending. Oh, sorry, my bad. I jumped. Go ahead, sir.
Same recommendation.
Whoops.
Aye. Chair DeCoy?
Aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga? Excuse. Senator Kim? Excuse. Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
This is the way it's par for the course today. Okay, next up, Senate Bill 2770, renewable energy. Speaking of strong policy statements, we want to send one with this message. Been here since 2007, and we're still waiting for some kind of movement. $30 million, I think, was the increase in electrical bills for state facilities over the summer. So members, we want to just go as is. Questions, comments? If not, Vice Chair, 2770.
Chair's recommendation on SB 2770 is as is. Of the members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Committee on Energy, Economic Development, Tourism, same recommendation. Chair votes aye.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Fukunaga and Kim are excused. Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And then moving on to Senate Bill 2822 relating to energy. Our recommendation is to pass as is. Chair votes aye.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Fukunaga and Kim are excused. Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee on Government Operations, same recommendation.
The members present on SB 2822. Is that correct?
Yep, that's, I believe it. Yeah.
Are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay, thank you. This concludes the joint hearing between these two committees.
Calling the joint hearing on Health, Human Services, and Government Operations 345 calendar. Present with me is Senator Shimabukuro and Vice Chair Aquino and Senator Keohokalole. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that you have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding businesses. Also present is the GVO committee, which is Chair McKelvey, Senator Wakai, and Senator Gabbard. For those who are on Zoom, your audio will be muted, video disabled until shortly before it's your turn to testify. Each testify will be limited to 1 minute. If there's a technical glitch during your time to testify, you may have to move on to the next person due to time constraints. I'll be reading a list of individuals who submitted written testimony for each measure. We apologize, closed captioning does not accurately transcribe the names. If you're interested in reviewing the written testimony, please go to the legislature's website. You will find a link on the status page for the measure. We appreciate your understanding. Remind you the committee does have your written testimony that I reviewed it, so I encourage you to use your time to either add additional comments or we can send on written testimony. First up, SB 2324. We have Department of Health in opposition.
Good afternoon, Chairs. Lauren Kim, Department of Health, Policy and Planning Officer. We have some issues with this that we'd like to call to your attention. First of all, to the extent that the Department of Health oversees first responders, that applies only to paramedics and EMTs. If this bill, the intent of the introducers are to assure fiscal parity or the lack of an unfunded mandate for first responders such as law enforcement or firefighting, amending Chapter 321 we feel is inappropriate because that is the substantive operational chapter of the Department of Health. The second point I'd like to make is that EMS is already largely a state-funded program. We provide or reimburse for all training with the exception of the City and County of Honolulu, which was spun off a couple of years ago without support from the state. So with that, I'm open for questions. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Next, we have Fire Chief Kazuo Todd for Hawaii Fire Department support. Are you there, Chief Todd? Please proceed at 1 minute.
Thank you very much. So essentially, while I would agree with the Department of Health on Chapter 321 maybe not being the right location, I do agree with the intent, which is that if the state were to mandate, such as under HB 1530, the increase of staffing for fire departments, that the state should be willing to fund that mandate. Currently, HB 1530 would have a general increase in cost for the Hawaii Fire Department of over $7 million in salaries and wages, which we are not funded for. So my basic premise is if you're going to ask us to do it, please help us out with some of the billing on that. Other than that, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Alice Lee for the County of Maui County Council and support. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2324? Okay, Angela Young, you have 1 minute and please choose your time wisely because we're really running late.
Aloha Chairs, Vice Chairs, and the committee. Angela Melody Young testifying in strong support. So the state and the county should work together in collaboration to further support the emergency management procedures that affect everyone at the city and the state level. So while the state manages the healthcare system, such as Department of Health, right? So this is like long-term healthcare and health knowledge. The city manages emergency health response, emergency management team response, right? With the paramedics, crisis outreach response engagement, and also the ambulance. So for the two teams to work together collaboratively, both have to be on the same page. And so we are in support of the state and the county working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2324? Members, any questions?
Yeah.
Senator Keiko Lola.
Department of Health. Or I don't know, maybe it's the fire chief. What you're saying we don't need this bill. I don't understand what we're trying to fix.
The point that we'd like to share is that first responders has not been defined. I think many people would think EMTs and paramedics are first responders. We consider that. That already is a statewide state-funded program, except for the City and County of Honolulu. If by first responder you mean a firefighter, law enforcement, so they do not become unfunded mandates on the committee, we're saying Chapter 321, which is DOH's home statute, is inappropriate. It should be amended. A chapter of general application should be amended rather than DOH's statute. But again, EMTs, paramedics, the emergency medical system, with the exception of Honolulu, is entirely state-funded.
Okay, can I ask a follow-up of the fire chief? Is he still online?
Chief Todd, are you still there on Zoom?
I am still here.
Hi, Chief. So just to clarify, your testimony is referencing a bill that was introduced in the House that hasn't become law yet.
That is correct. So essentially, there is a bill in the House, HB 1530, which is mandating essentially that there should be at least 4 firefighters on an engine.
Okay.
Similar.
That's clear. Okay, that's good. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we're hearing a bill to address a bill that hasn't passed yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? SB 2324. Seeing none, moving on. SB 2503 relating to equity. We have State Council on Developmental Disabilities in support.
Chair, thank you for hearing this. On behalf of the State Council, myself, James Bartolos, and James Labrie, our chair, we stand in strong support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kirby Shaw, details. I thought I saw him. Okay, next we have Stacy Aldrich, Hawaii State Public Library System, providing comments.
Sending our comments.
Thank you. Next we have Dax, Keith Reagan, providing comments.
Chair, Dag stands on his written testimony providing comments.
Thank you. Next we have Stonewall Caucus, Democratic Party, Michael Deloya Jr. in support. Michael, are you on Zoom?
They're not on Zoom, Chair.
Next we have Perry Heedy, in support. Perry, are you present? Next we have Jerry Sugano in support.
Chair, I'd like to stand on my written testimony in strong support.
Thank you very much. Okay, no one else having registered. Let me read who else I provide. Okay, DCAB in support, Hawaii Civil Rights Commission providing comments, Judiciary providing comments, Hawaii Family Caregiver Coalition providing in support, Epilepsy Foundation support, Hawaii Disability Rights Center in support. Come on up, Angela Young.
Angela Melody Young testifying in strong support. So gender equity is something so important to address. And this is from the National Strategy on Gender Equity and Equality from the White House. So this strategy addresses barriers faced by those who belong to underserved and historically marginalized communities that have long been denied full opportunity. Women and girls of color, LGBTQIA people, people with disabilities, and all of those whose lives are affected by persistent poverty and inequality. So when we're leveling out equity and making things fair, gender equity is so important. And ensuring that people all have the opportunity to live up to their full potential, regardless of gender identity and other factors, is not only a moral imperative, it is a strategic imperative, a continuation of our national journey towards justice, opportunity, and equality set forth in our creation, which will advance prosperity, stability,
Thank you very much,
and
Angela Young.
security
Anybody
for
else
years to
wishing
come. Thank you.
testify on SB 2508? Come on up. You have 1 minute. Thank you.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to.
Please identify yourself.
Oh, my name is Austin Conachero. Thank you for the opportunity to provide strong support of the Senate bill. Installing universal changing tables in public buildings like the Capitol would allow people like my sister and grandmother to have a place to use the restroom rather than having to rush home or change their clothes in the back of the car. This bill is important because everyone should be able to come to the Capitol because there's not one here in the Capitol. And they don't have to worry about using the restroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2503? Members, any questions? Okay, Senator McKelvey, next bill is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. We're also going to adhere to the 1 minute testimony rule of the Committee on Health and Human Services, despite the notice of 2 minutes on the testimony to keep it congruent. Okay, Senate Bill 3000. We have numerous entities and individuals testifying on this, and so in order to keep it concise, we first have Stacy Aldrich, State Librarian. Okay, thank you so much. We have Dags, Comptroller.
Chair, standing on our written testimony and support.
Okay, we also have Nikki Ann Ma'ai Movement on Zoom. Is she there?
Aloha.
There.
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, and committee members. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify. I'm Nikki Ann Yee, co-founder of Ma'i Movement, Hawaii. I stand on our written testimony in strong support. We started Ma'i Movement because we believed in a cause, even when no one was talking about periods or knew anything about period poverty. What keeps us running and brings us here every year is the real and actual need hurting our communities. This bill is not about ideology or politics. It is about access. Our work, the need, and the data speak for itself. When the wildfires hit, when schools reach out to us, when people ask us for help, we're on the ground meeting basic needs. Girls, women, trans, and gender non-conforming menstruators have the right to fully live. Some may deny the value of our work, but tell that to the organizations and individuals that we have sent over 1 million period products to in every single district, county, and island of our state. Mahalo for your leadership and the opportunity to testify.
Thank you so much for being here and for testifying. Next up, we're going to go ahead and we're just looking for the ones who signed up to be on Zoom or in person. Do we have Christine Ann Corbera on Zoom to testify? Are they there?
No, they're unavailable.
Okay, and then we will go ahead. Do we have in person Daintree Balters? Oh, wait.
Yes, most of our testimony and support. I apologize for being late.
No, worries. Thank you so much. We also have Zoom testimony from Glenise Akamini.
They're also unavailable.
They're unavailable. And then we also have Desiree Keoluhakalani on
And
Zoom.
they're unavailable as well.
They're unavailable as well. We've got numerous support from various agencies on the measure. There are numerous individuals who testified in support. There's also numerous individuals who've testified in opposition. Is there anybody in the audience on this measure for or against who would like to testify? Please come up, 1 minute timer.
Angela Melody Young testifying in strong support on behalf of CARES. So free menstrual products are available in restroom facilities managed by a few jurisdictions and counties. And menstruation is a basic bodily function, and menstrual products are an essential part of life as other basic restroom amenities like toilet paper or paper towels. Those are also very essential and should be accessible free of charge. So period poverty or the lack of access to menstrual products is linked to gender inequity, income inequity, education inequality, and healthcare inequality. We should be committed to ending period poverty and working to create menstrual equity by addressing income and health disparities with an appropriation of funds for period products. Instead of those who are poor having to get their own menstrual products, it's eating up at their bank. It should be a provision of the state to provide period products.
Okay, thank you so much for testifying. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to testify on the measure or out in Zoom land? Okay, seeing none, members, are there any questions of the testifiers who were there? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the next bill on the agenda, 2688. First up, we have Hawaii State Council on Developmental Disabilities.
Let's get our testimony and support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Kirby Shaw, DCAB. They have testimony and support. Cheryl Park, OIP. Thank you for the comments. Kathy Betts, DHS. They too have comments. We have Hawaii Civil Rights Commission. They have submitted comments. Doug Murdoch, Office of Enterprise Technology, written comments. And see, we have Stanek, National Federation of the Blind of Hawaii.
Yes, James
Oh.
National here, National Federation of Blind of Hawaii. Stand on my statement in strong support.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. And Peter Fritz, individual, written in opposition. That's all we have on 26.
I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
Chair.
Oh, you're here. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Go
I'm
ahead.
testifying in opposition. I don't think that there's a need for an additional committee to come up with different standards that are already being developed by the Act 172. I've worked with Tyler and HIC on making accessible changes, and they've been very open to making those changes. And there's no need to increase or provide another level of administrative review. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, is there anybody else I might have missed on the measure?
Yes.
Go ahead. Sir. Okay, Kirby. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, Kirby Shaw, DCAB. We support the intent, and basically that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Anybody else I might have missed, audience or Zoom land? Okay, seeing none, members, are there questions on the measure? The committee, okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the final one on the agenda, 2751. First up, we have Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, written in opposition. Board of Regents, comments, they haven't met on it yet. We have Mr. Shaw from DCAB. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Oh.
On SB 2751. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, DCAB stands on its written testimony, supporting the intent only.
Got it. Supporting only the intent. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Next up, Cheryl Park, OIP.
Good afternoon.
OIP opposes the placement of this provision in the Sunshine Law and its proposed enforcement by OIP. Instead, we support the alternative that was proposed in Senate Bill 2688. OIP does not have the expertise in disability access standards, which is set primarily by the Americans for Disability Act, ADA. And so OIP should not be charged with enforcing these standards within the unrelated Sunshine Law in potential conflict with other state and federal agencies that are charged with administering and enforcing disability access standards. Notably, this provision would only apply to materials and presentations to Sunshine Law board members, so there would be a potential for conflict between what we come up with and what the rest of the federal standards might be. Doesn't make any sense for DCAP to simply advise OIP when OIP is the one that ultimately under this bill would have to write the opinions. And if we're going to have to get into this whole new area of disability access, then we need a whole lot of new people and resources.
Timer up.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have National Federation of the Blind of Hawaii.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, Chairs, Vice Chair, members. Name is James Gashel, representing National Federation of the Blind of Hawaii. You know, it's encouraging that both DCAB and OIP support the intent. I wish they supported the whole bill, of course, but we should keep working on this bill and keep the discussion going. The problem is that for information to be accessible, it must be available in more than just the printed format. And that's what this bill calls for. And it clearly points to a problem that needs to have a solution. I think everybody agrees with that. So we hope the conversation, the discussion will continue to craft this bill in the way it should be. I don't think SB 2688 is the solution because it really speaks to the accessibility of the internet portal and not information distributed by public boards at public meetings. So please pass SB 2751 so that we can work further on this bill and get a bill that really works.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. Clifford Miyashiro, individual, written in support. Peter Fritz, are you there? Go ahead.
Chair, I'm Peter Fritz. I'm in support of the intent for accessibility and worked very hard for it over the years. However, I do not support this bill. It creates a very unworkable structure. It has definitions in it that are different from what the ADA is and will be developed by the Act 172 committee. There are additional remedies that haven't been talked about that I've employed myself, such as filing a complaint with the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission, which resulted in a settlement. Moving to federal court when a state agency would not provide an accommodation. So there are existing remedies now, and I think that if anything, this bill should be held until such time as the Act 172 committee produces their report on a standardized statewide system of accessibility for individuals. In addition, I've been reading all of the notices that have been filed, and probably over the 1,000 or so that I've read, at least in the past 6 months, only 2 of those were inaccessible. And of the board package I've received, they've all been accessible. And I attribute this to the CIO's decision to move the
Okay, we've run on the timer, so we'll have to have you summarize right here. Okay.
Well, all I'm saying is that accessibility has improved quite a bit because of action taken by ETS, and the state should have standard systems, not a hodgepodge of different systems. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you so much for weighing in on this. Okay. Let's see, we also have Emery Mitchell Butler. Nope, no timer needed. Oh, that's Senate IT. Okay, that's all we have on this bill. Is there anybody in the audience or out in Zoom that wants to testify on this measure who did? If not, members' questions. If not, we'll recess for decision.
No,
making?
no, just go ahead.
Okay.
You have 15 minutes to do 4 agendas. Okay, so for decision making, for SB 2324, recommendation is to defer indefinitely. Let's see what the House bill is that this thing refers to. So for SB 2503, Chair's recommendation is to pass with Dag's amendment and any technical non-substantive amendments recommended by SMA. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
Okay, Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye, Senator Keokolole. Aye. Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Chair Awa is excused. Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, Committee on Government Operations, same recommendation.
With amendments.
2324.
2503
Yeah, sorry.
with amendments.
Pass with amendments.
Yes, 2324.
Recommendation is to pass SB 2503 with a
It's 2324, right?
Yes, no, 2503.
Okay.
We defer
Got it, my bad,
2324.
Go ahead.
is to pass SB 2503 with amendments. Chair McKelvey.
Yes.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Senator Wakai.
Yes.
Senator Awa, excused, measure passes.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's see, sorry,
SB 2000.
yeah, SB 3000 is our bill. Right here, the recommendation on this measure is we're going to go ahead and simply move this along with a defective date. Members, questions, comments? If not, Vice Chair, Senate Draft 1.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 3000 with amendments. Of the members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Same recommendation. I need clarification. I thought it was as is.
It was, but we're just going to go ahead and normal practice.
With a defective date? Okay, so pass with amendments. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, 4 members are present. Any reservations, any no's? Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, Senate Bill 2688, we really appreciate the conversation. We want to continue working on this, but given the time constraints and the existence of this Act 172 working group that's currently undergoing its work, we're just going to defer this measure for now. Senate Bill 2751, same recommendation given the concerns that were raised about the conflict of the ADA. However, we do want to work on this issue and particularly note that during this bill that members of the community, from the blind community, had problems putting their testimony into the legislative websites. We should probably start right here in our own house with doing this right away. But we'll continue to work on that in other vehicles, so we'll go ahead and that will be the disposition for those bills. Okay, that should conclude this plan.
So for HHS, we are adjourned.
Yep, we're adjourned. Yeah, welcome back. Decision-making only Committee on Government Operations, 3:30 p.m. agenda. First up, we have 2644 relating to a legislative budget office. Great conversation for fiscal notes. However, there's no entity to do it and there's no money, it sounds like, so we're going to defer this indefinitely as there is no funding mechanism. Next up, we have Senate Bill 3169. This is the first of a few LG bill certification of documents. This bill here, members, we're going to defer this one indefinitely because we're going to include the language of this measure into the measure Senate Bill 2816. Okay. Next up, we have Senate Bill 2816. And we're going to go ahead with this one and the recommendation is Senate Draft 1, including the language of Senate Bill 3169 into the measure. And then we're going to add a defective date of 2112. Members, questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair, 2816 SD1.
Recommendation is to pass SB 2816 with amendments. Of the members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, Senate Bill 2873, State Naming Commission. We had some good discussion on this, and given that discussion, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and recommend the Senate Draft 1, and we're going to replace the State Foundation on Culture of the Arts member with a member from the UH School of Hawaiian Knowledge, and we're going to have a technical non-substantive amendments for the purposes of clarity, consistency of style, and a defective date of 21/12. Members, questions? Comments? If not, Vice Chair, 2873 SD1.
Recommendations to pass SB 2873 with amendments. Are the members present? Any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay. Next up, Senate Bill 618, State Permitting Office. We've been working with the Department of County and General Services on this. We want to avoid the issue of duplication. So working with DAGs, we have several amendments to do this. This would be a pilot program within the area of immediate need, which we all know about. And then they would go ahead and they would be basically creating a system for state buildings that would not be duplicative of the county. And we also are going to go ahead and we're going to make an appropriation recommended by DAGs, but we're also going to put in the committee report to have the Committee on Ways and Means potentially pursue federal disaster funds for this office, given that something similar was done in Kauai with an EET. And the effective date of 21/12. Members, questions or comments on this measure? If not, Vice Chair, Senate Draft 1.
Recommendations to pass SB 618 with amendments. Of the members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay, thank you. I believe this concludes this agenda. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We have the 329 decision-making agenda. This is the reconsider decision made on Senate Bill 2517. Due to some technical mix-ups, unfortunately, the recommendation we wanted to make in the bill didn't get put in there. So what we're going to do is vote on the recommendations that we're trying to do for the bill to fix the concerns that were raised about it, insofar as balancing privacy interests with the ability to have proper oversight and transparency in these matters. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and revote Senate Bill 2517, Senate Draft 1. Questions, comments? If not, Vice Chair. Yes.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 2517 with amendments. Of the members present, any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay, thank you very much. This concludes this agenda. Okay, welcome everybody back. Government Operations, 4 o'clock agenda, Tuesday, February 13th. First up, Senate Bill 2198, UH Board of Regents. They have comments, wanting to meet on this thing, haven't done it yet. EUTF, written with comments. Cheryl Park, OIP.
Good afternoon. For this bill, we think it makes some much needed clarification to the board packet requirements. But we note that Senate Bill 2638 was already passed out by the Judiciary Committee, and they made certain amendments that we agree with. So we would urge you to just work with one of the proposals. Instead of moving this forward, maybe you can look at the Senate Bill 2638.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yep. Next up, Doug Meller, League of Women Voters of Hawaii. They are in opposition. Natalie Iwasa, she had written comments. And then finally, Alice Lee, Maui County Council, written in support, and Ben Krebs.
I'll stand on a written testimony in opposition.
Okay, thank you so much. That's all we've received on this measure. Is there anybody else in the audience Zoom wishing to testify? Seeing none, members' questions. Seeing none, next up, we have Senate Bill 2199. Which is, first up, we have Board of Regents of Hawaii with comments. Need to take it up at a future meeting. Cheryl Park, OIP.
Well, Chair, the Sunshine Law already allows training sessions of board members that are not sunshine law meetings, as long as they don't talk about board business during that time. This bill, however, would allow the board to discuss in closed session, not only general background information, but also its current board business, including its biggest issues, so long as they called it training. So that's why we're concerned. And at the same time, now the board would have to file a timely notice and list the topics to be discussed on its meeting agenda just to do real training. So we don't understand why you need this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sterling Morita, President, SPJA. Let's see, opposition, Natalie Wassa, individual opposition, Alice Lee, council chair in support. That's all we received on the measure. Anybody in the audience wishing to testify, 2199. If not, member question. And if not, we move on to 3307. First up again, Board of Regents, testimony and comments, needing more time to meet on it. Cheryl Park.
Okay, for this bill, besides our written comments, I'd like to note that you're putting a lot of trust in the OIP director. And I know that I appreciate your trust in my fairness and reasonableness and balance. But, you're telling the director to pick a trusted representative without the Senate advice and consent, without any other selection process. And this person now would have the ability to stop a board from conducting its business by simply not showing up. Because that's, you can't do certain things in executive session unless that person decides to be present. And then it's a question of who is that person? I mean, some people everybody can meet, well, not everybody, but many people can meet the standards, but there are going to be many people who don't think they meet the standards too. So I don't understand why you need this bill. I think it would be very problematic. And if you really wanted something to be done, just provide the executive session minutes for OIP to review, but please give us more people to be doing additional work if that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. We have Doug Meller, opposition from League of Women Voters, Ben Krebs.
Chair will stand on our written testimony in opposition.
Okay, thank you so much. That's all we received on 3307. Anybody else in the audience or out in Zoom? Seeing not, member questions. Seeing not, we will move on to 2200, the next bill on the agenda. Let's see. First up, we have LUC. They have written testimony and comments. We've also received late testimony from City and County of Honolulu. Okay. Anybody else who might want to testify on this measure? Seeing none, there's nobody to ask questions of. We'll move on to the next on the agenda, 3226. Sorry. 3226, administrative proceedings. I don't believe we have any testimony on that measure, so that makes that one very easy to deal with. Okay, next one up, we have Senate Bill 3185. First up, State Procurement Office. Opposition. Oh, no, there. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair Bonnie Kahakui for State Procurement Office. We stand on our written testimony in opposition of this bill as written. However, we did make some suggested language that would amend other parts of 103D. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And then Ed Stiffen, Director of Transportation.
Thank you, Chair McKelvey, Vice Chair Gabbard, Tammy Lee from the Department of Transportation. We stand on our written testimony providing comments, and I'm here for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all we received. Anybody in the audience wishing to testify? Seeing none, member question. I have a quick question of DOT. Are your comments in line with what State Procurement Office was suggesting insofar as if the amendments they suggested were made by the committee, with that?
Yes, so Bonnie and I have been in conversations. We met a couple of times, and the DOT would agree that revisions to the 102 as the SPO had suggested, and we included that language in our testimony as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So it's in both testimonies. Okay. All right, I believe that's everybody. Any other questions based upon that? If not, we'll move on to, let's see, 2335. First up, we have State Energy Office.
Albert Wigg, State Energy Office. Comments, sir. Glad to answer any questions.
Got it. Okay, thank you, sir, for being here. Appreciate it. Ted Kafalas, Grassroots Institute, written in support. Hawaii Island Chamber of Commerce in support. Let's see, ASHRAE, written in opposition. Tim Lyons, subcontractors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Senator Gabbard. Subcontractors Association has a very singular focus on this bill, and that is on page 4, lines 8 through 20, which splits a seat currently held by GCA and BIA into 2 seats. But there's only 1 seat for subcontractors. There are periodically issues that come up on a general versus sub basis, and as a result, we would either request either not doing this or providing 2 seats for the subcontractors to make it equal. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Jody Robinson, Blue Planet.
Afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Jody Robinson of Blue Planet. In opposition to this measure, you have our written testimony. We oppose this bill for several reasons. Opposing moving the timeline for code adoption to 8 years, raising the issue that our out-of-date codes have rendered us ineligible for FEMA funding for infrastructure resiliency projects, which is critical. We oppose adding 4 industry groups as voting members to the SBCC, highlighting that this would create a code composition that's quite imbalanced. It would be 8 out of 16 voting members are represented by the industry. Opposing requirements for cost benefit analysis, just questioning the feasibility, timing, and efficacy of this, as well as who would be responsible for oversight of this provision. And then the provision that would allow the counties to adopt less stringent standards than the state codes provide. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mia. Appreciate it. Let's see. We also have Wayne Tanaka on Zoom.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Wayne Tanaka, Sierra Club of Hawaii. We oppose this measure. It has, as the previous testifier articulated, tremendous opportunity costs with respect to the public health and safety, with respect to our climate resilience, and with respect to our our leadership as a state that has been seen as a model for climate responses. It doesn't address the root causes of building permit review delays, which is staffing issues, essentially salaries and management and so forth, as has been articulated in a Civil Beat article recently. I did want to add that another way that building codes evolve is with respect to fire safety and fire resilience. So like in terms of building collapse, the kind of materials you build, flammability, ingress, egress, like all those things are being examined in these building codes. And so we want to, knowing that we're going to see similar, climate related disasters going forward, we want to make sure that our residents are protected to the best extent possible, and updated building codes are one way to do so. Happy to answer any questions. And otherwise we respectfully ask the committee to hold this measure. And I did want to point out that ASHRAE is here in Zoom land, so I'm not sure if they, you wanted to hear this.
Yeah, they'll come up. Okay, thank you very much. Next up, we also have, let's see, ACECH on Zoom in support.
They're unavailable on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We have Josh Wish, Holomua Coalition. See, in support, and let's see, Maui County Council, Alice Lee in support. We've also received numerous individuals and agencies who've submitted testimony. Japanese Chamber of Commerce is in support. Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition is in opposition. Comments from Hawaii Energy. That's all the testimony we received on the measures. Everybody in the audience or in Zoom wishing to testify on this measure. Seeing none, member, is there any question?
This is Jacob Carson with ASHRAE. May I please speak?
Yes, we may. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Jacob Carson with ASHRAE. ASHRAE is the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers. We have 250 members in Hawaii. I'm presenting this testimony on their behalf. We urge opposition to this legislation. We believe that it's well-intentioned, but that it will ultimately hamstring any attempts to update the energy codes and standards in Hawaii going forward. There are essentially two reasons we believe this. First, the Codes Council is currently under-resourced. So adding additional administrative requirements, as this bill does, is going to slow down and really hurt the process. Secondly, giving additional seats in the council to developers, landowners, contractors. These are a coalition that we see nationwide oppose energy efficiency regulations, energy codes and standards. This would be a departure from the current more balanced composition of the Code Council. Beyond that, we stand by our testimony. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody else on this measure wishing to testify? Okay, seeing none, members' questions. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next bill on the agenda, which is 2566, proposed Senate Draft 1, infrastructure subdivisions. We've received numerous testimonies from individual in support. Any of them here wishing to testify? Oh, Chair Lee, I see you. Are you here to testify on that measure? Okay, I guess she disappeared. She is also submitted testimony in support. Anybody out in Zoom or the audience wishing to testify on Senate Bill 2566? Seeing none, I don't think there's anybody we can ask questions of. So next up is 2743. First up is Attorney General's office.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Janine Udui, Deputy Attorney General, testifying on behalf of the department. As set forth in our written testimony, we believe that this bill could be strengthened by adding a more robust declaration of its public purpose. We believe that this would better insulate the bill against a potential constitutional challenge. I'm available for comments. Thank you.
Thanks so much for waiting for us. Alice Lee is an individual. Okay, written in support. Tax Foundation of Hawaii. They have comments.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Jade McMillan on behalf of the Tax Foundation of Hawaii. We will stand on our written comments. Thank you.
Thank you for submitting them. We appreciate it. Carl Takamura, individual in support. That's all we have on 2743. Anybody in the audience or Zoom wishing to testify? Seeing none, member, is there questions, members? Seeing none, we will move on to Senate Bill 2457, liquor licenses. First up, we have, let's see, Steve Homchild for Lanikai Brewing Company. Written in opposition, Garrett Marrero. Written in opposition, Nicholas Wong, Beer Lab Hawaii. Written in opposition, Benjamin Kopf. Opposition to, and Lynn Matsau, individual in support. All we have on 2457, anybody in the audience or Zoom wishing to testify? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next bill on the agenda, which is Senate Bill 3094, peer support specialists. We have, let's see, first up, Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Melanie Martin, Deputy Director for Administration, testifying on behalf of Tommy Johnson. We stand on our written testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you staying around. Adrian Abe from the Hawaii State Judiciary in support. We have Hawaii State Department of Health. They have written in support. Tia Hartsock, Director of
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Naomi Leipold. I'm here on behalf of Tia Hartsock, our Director of Office of Wellness and Resilience. We stand by our written testimony of strongly supporting this bill, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, we have Mai Hall for HCAN Speaks, written in support. Commit to Keiki, written in support. Hawaii Substance Abuse Coalition, written in support. NAMI, written in support. And Early Childhood Education Strategy, written in support. Late testimony from Epic Ohana and from Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center. in support. And then we have Hawaii State Council on Developmental Disabilities.
We'll stand on our written testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's all there is in 3094. Anybody in the audience? Okay. Quick though, we could. We're running. We got literally 10 minutes left. Go.
Angela Melody Young on behalf of CARES in strong support of the peer support specialist. And the peer support specialist supports the trauma-informed care framework and also the psychological and emotional safety of those who need to rebuild a sense of control and empowerment can be addressed by getting peer support specialists to them. And also for those who have like diminishing mental health conditions, I think it's very important to get it with a peer support specialist to help them address their issues. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here. Appreciate your testimony. Okay, anybody else on this measure wishing to testify? You see none questions? I have a quick question of Office of Wellness, just so be real fast. I know we're limited on time. And just could you guys do this instead of the Department of Health?
We are proposing to be, it is proposed in the measure that we are the administrator to help lead the conversation of the working group that would create the framework.
That's another bill, right?
This would be the bill.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to the next bill on the agenda. Hold on a second, everybody. Okay, well, my apologies. We skipped the bill. So we're going to go back to Senate Bill 2222. This is the appropriation for the emergency services of the city and county of Honolulu. You receive any support from? Well, we didn't receive any testimony on the measure, which is why it accidentally got skipped. Anybody want to jump in? Support the city and county of Honolulu and their endeavors. Okay, if not, we'll go on to back to our original bill here, which was, I believe we're on 2831. Right?
2772.
2772, my bad. Sorry. So many bills, so little time. 2772, Keith Regan, Comptroller.
Chair, we stand on our testimony.
Okay, thank you very much. And then finally, HGEA, written with comments, we're wishing to be on the group as well. That's all we received. Any questions or comments of DAGs? If not, we'll move on to 2831. First up, Department of Tax.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Gary Sugunuma, Director of Taxation. The department submitted written testimony offering comments and explaining why we cannot support this measure. While we empathize with Maui's situation, we are also experiencing the same situation with staffing on Maui, across all islands basically, but on Maui especially. Right now, in the Maui District Office in Wailuku, we have only 17 of 29 positions filled, so that's a 41% vacancy rate. And so we're already operating very thin over there. We're more than willing to continue working with Maui County and the rest of the counties in sharing TAT data, which we do on a monthly basis already. But requiring us to levy, assess, and collect the taxes will be really difficult because of our scarce resources. I mean, to the point where we did put in our testimony that it could affect our ability to collect state taxes if we had to divert resources to help the county.
Okay.
And so I hope you understand.
Okay. No.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Tax Foundation of Hawaii with comments. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Jade McMillan on behalf of Tommy Amachika for the Tax Foundation of Hawaii. We will stand on our written comments submitted on the measure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We have Alice Lee, individual.
Aloha Chair and committee members. We are in strong support of this bill. As you can imagine, the devastation caused by the Lahaina wildfires will result in a tremendous loss of revenues and increase in expenses. We need a lot of help. We are shorthanded in our tax division, and anything you can do to help us would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. We have Victoria Johnson, individual. She is late testimony in opposition. That's all we have on the measure 2831. Anybody in the audience wishing to testify or on Zoom? Seeing none. Member, is there any questions? Members, sorry. Finally, we've come up to 2994. First up is Hawaii State Energy Office. Yeah, unfortunately.
We had comments on this bill and we stand on them and would be ready to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have Tim Lyons, subcontractors.
We'll stand on our testimony, Mr. Chairman, requesting uniform.
Okay, understand. Thank you for that. Let's see, we have Blue Planet Foundation.
Chair, we'll stand on our testimony in opposition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And then we have Naopi Hawaii chapter. They've written in support. We also have ASHRAE. They have written in opposition. Wayne Tanaka Sierra Club.
I can't stop my video, sorry. But yeah, so we're Tanaka Sierra Club. We're in opposition for the same reasons as in the previous testimony. I just want to add that my understanding is that there are a number of other jurisdictions that are looking to Hawaii that may try to adopt similar proposals should this bill pass into law, and the ripple effect of that kind of additional laws across jurisdictions will have a significant and disproportionate impact on regional climate resilience well beyond our islands. So for that and many other reasons, we ask that you hold this measure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Let's have, we have Hawaii Energy Office, Hawaii State Energy, I should say. Holomua Coalition Collaborative, Josh Wish, and he's in support. Stephanie Sakamoto, BIA Hawaii. Okay, and there's support. And then finally, I think we skipped somebody from ASHRAE. They came on Zoom. Go ahead,
yes,
sir.
Thank you. I'll keep my remarks brief.
Yes, you don't mind.
Very good. So we stand in opposition to this. I just want to emphasize a couple brass tacks numbers. Essentially, though, we oppose this legislation because updating building energy standards does not increase housing costs, and because failing to update them comes at a huge cost in terms of economic and environmental impact. For residential construction, there is a small associated cost with updating to modern energy standards, $288 for the average down payment, but that homeowner would then save over $800 per year in their utility bills if a modern energy standard was adopted in the state. For residential construction, for commercial construction, we would actually expect average construction costs to come down, and doing all of this would mitigate 8,000 metric tons of CO2 released in the first year after code and standard adoption, and save $3 million in that same year. Over the 30-year life of a structure, that cost savings will balloon to a little bit over $1 billion.
Okay, time. Okay, no, thank you for coming on though and pointing that out to us. We appreciate it. Okay, is there anybody else on this measure who would like to testify? 2994. Seeing none, members' questions. Seeing none.
Decision making.
We got to write the decision making.
Yeah, you got 5 minutes. And you got 2 more again.
Guess we're not. What's going on? We're going to defer this. Is it? This one now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go right into DM here for the measures on the agenda here. Okay. First up, we had Senate Bill 2198, and our recommendation is with this is we're going to go ahead and we were going to move it out, but given the testimony that there's another bill that may conflict with it, we're going to defer it out. Okay. Next up, Senate Bill 2199. Let's see, we also want to note OIP's testimony on this measure that they can do it now. And given that, we're going to go ahead and defer 2199 as well. Next up, Senate Bill 3307, public agency meetings deferred time certain Thursday, February 15th at 4 p.m. to address some of the issues that were raised. Okay, Senate Bill 220 relating to administrate procedure. As you can tell by the title, there's a flaw in the bill, so we have to defer this one indefinitely because of the title flaw. And that brings us to Senate Bill 3226, which is the one with a good title, same bill. And so we're going to amend this measure with the LUC's language to put in or is required by law. Okay, that's the only change with that bill. Members, questions, comments? If not, Vice Chair 3226 SD1.
Chair's recommendations to pass SB 3226 with amendments. Chair McKelvey, Vice Chair. Chair McKelvey.
Yes, sorry.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Buenaventura.
Aye.
Nothing excused from Senator Kai and Awa. The measure passes.
Okay, thank you very much. 3185, we want to work on this measure some more, the related procurements we discussed. So time certain Thursday, February 15th at 4 p.m. Senate Bill 2335, State Building Code. As well, we're going to go ahead, given the issues raised, try and have some discussions. Thursday, February 15th, time certain decision making on the measure at 4 p.m. in this room. Next up, Senate Bill 2566, Infrastructure Maintenance and Housing Subdivisions. Members given the testimony in favor, and we're just going to make tech amendments for non-substantive clarity, consistency, and style. And that's it. Questions?
Adopt proposed SD1.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's what we testified. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay,
I think we need to.
we good? Good, okay. Go ahead.
Recommendations to pass SB 2566 with amendments. The members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Thank you. 2743 relating to the counties. We're going to defer this time certain February 15th, 4 p.m. this room Thursday. Senate Bill 2222, an appropriation to the city and county of Honolulu. Want to help our friends out there with keeping this vehicle alive. So we're just going to move this measure on as is. Questions? Comments? If not, Vice Chair as is.
Chair's recommendations to pass S 2222 unamended. Of the members present, any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay, next up, Senate Bill 2457. We wanted to help our friends out with their concerns, but this may be too overbroad. So for this time, we're going to defer this measure indefinitely and maybe try to work on getting the situation addressed at the city county level. Next up, we have Senate Bill 3094 relating to peer specialists. Recommendation on this measure is we're going to make some technical non-substantive amendments. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to have the next committee look at potentially adding the Director of Corrections and Rehabilitation to the working group. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a tech amendment on paragraph C on page 5. So it says two caregivers with lived experience as the caregiver of a child or youth in behavioral health, child welfare, or the juvenile justice systems, and a defective date of 21/12. Members, questions or comments? If not, Vice Chair 3094 SD1.
Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments. Of the members present, any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay. Next up, Senate Bill 2772, companion to a bill heard. However, we want to keep this moving because the issues it addresses. So we're going to go ahead and adopt the recommendation amendments of DAGs to put on the designees, as well as to add HGEA as a member and an effective date of 21/12. Members, questions, comments? If not, Vice Chair 2772, Senate Draft 1.
Recommendations to pass 2772 with amendments. Members present, any no votes or reservation? Measure passes.
Okay, thank you very much. Next bill, Senate Bill 2831. We were hoping to move this measure. However, given the testimony and the effect this could have to the net, we're going to have to try to work with the county on addressing this problem with them through other means and defer this measure for now. And then finally, we're going to go to Senate Bill 2994. What we're going to do on this one is we're going to defer this time certain for Thursday, 4 p.m. agenda. This from 225. I was going to move it today. However, I wanted to discuss with my vice chair some of the things that were brought up and the committee members. Okay. And I believe that concludes the hearing, this agenda. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. We have to revisit the 329 DM agenda on Senate Bill 2517 because of protocol to be clear and concise of the changes that are being made in this bill. We're going to go through them all, so bear with me. We're going to amend Part 1 of Chapter and Section 1 to say that hiring a head of a division or agency upon the vacancy or anticipated vacancy of the head of any division or agency of the state that requires a board to appoint or otherwise select a new head, the board shall use open deliberation in an open meeting to establish a process and timeline for the selection of the new head. Approval of the process and timeline shall be done in an open meeting. Subsection B, the board shall follow the process and timeline created in subsection A. If during the selection process, the board determines that the process timeline requires the amendment shall be made through open deliberation and open meeting, and approval of the amendment shall be done in an open meeting. Any appointment or selection by a board of a head of a division or agency of the state made in violation of this section shall be invalid. Section 2, we're going to amend subsection 2. I'm sorry, we're going to amend 92-5 of HRS. Subsection 2 to add in there that an open meeting shall be held provided further that any vote to hire a head, a division or agency pursuant to section 92- shall be conducted in an open meeting. We're going to also go ahead and in the committee report, we're going to note that the committee recognizes that applicants for employment retain certain privacy rights justifying the use of closed executive session under the Sunshine Law, as the Supreme Court and the State Office of Information Practices have recognized. We're going to find that the committee, both Hawaii Supreme Court and OIP, have determined a balancing test between public interest and an individual's privacy interest, which applies under the Uniform Information Practices Act, does not apply to the Sunshine Law's executive session purpose, authorizing a board to discuss certain personnel matters in closed session where matters affecting privacy are involved. We're going to find in the committee report, however, in some instances, such as hiring the head of an agency or division, there is an elevated public interest that makes it appropriate for the legislature to ensure a statutory minimum level of public accountability in the hiring process and the actual decision to hire. We want to add that we believe this measure will set a minimum level of accountability with respect to certain class, top level state employees, and will not impact county hiring decisions, nor interfere with the rights of employees subject to collectively bargained agreements or the civil service system. The bill will also clarify that a board hiring a state agency or division head must openly create a hiring process and follow that process, openly amending it when necessary, and that process openly amending it when necessary. And that process must be at a minimum include holding a public vote on who to hire for the position without adversely impacting individual privacy rights or frustrating government efforts to recruit qualified candidates, by identifying individuals being considered for a position who may not be ultimately hired. The committee recognizes the legislature is exempt from the Sunshine Bill law under 9210, and thus this will not apply to the Senate's use of advisory consent for appointments, even though those appointments are made by the board subject to sunshine rather than the governor is usually the case. That are all the amendments of the SD1 that we'll be passing out on 2517. Are there any questions or comments on this? And not Vice Chair, Senate Draft 1, I vote yes.
Recommendation is to pass SB 2517 with amendments. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator San Buenaventura. And Senator Wakainawa excused. Measure passes.
Okay, thank you. This concludes this.